Thank you for joining us for our City Directors Roundtable. We're going to go ahead and get started, and Tom Cool, our Parks and Recs Director, will give his department head update, and we'll just go around the square circle.
Okay. The only big thing I have this week is this coming weekend, Saturday, Sunday, is the Mobile Bay Spring Classic Soccer Tournament, which it's an annual event. They've got 105 teams signed up from Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and some from Georgia. We were going to host the whole thing right here in Fairhope, but we kind of ran over, so we are using 4 fields up in Daphne. But it's age groups run from 9U to 18U, so there'll be 105 soccer teams in town, plus any parents and siblings that come along with them. It's just a big crowd. It's always a big weekend. It's wild and crazy if you've never seen anything quite that big. So that's going on Saturday and Sunday. And then, the rec center and pool are doing well. Numbers still continue to grow. Quail Creek, excuse me. The golf course, Jeff sent me a schedule. I forgot to bring it, but I mean, he's got a full schedule out there. Every day there's something going on, and he's always coming up with new ideas and pushing right along through there. And same with the Fairhope Docks Marina. Always something happening down there. We're getting close to a slab, and that's all I have.
That's right. Thank you.
The planning department's going well. We've been busy. We have a planning commission meeting May the 7th. We have a pretty healthy agenda for that. But other than that, things are going well. So, pass it on to Richard.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a couple of kind of big picture things that we're working on. As I kind of introduced in some earlier forums, is that we're really looking at our solid waste operations, our sanitation operations from kind of top to bottom as a whole. We have spent some time in the last couple of weeks internally as a department looking at our recycling. A lot of the issues that we were suffering have been resolved by the delivery of new recycle trucks. Our schedule is much more on time and on schedule, and the men are appreciating having reliable equipment to use. The biggest challenge right now, Mayor, is the commodity market and recycling is slowly but surely going the wrong direction. And part of that is that foreign entities were buying a great deal of recyclable products, and the price ticked up. And as our economy has improved, their economy has not, and thus it started reversing the other way. We had a tenuous relationship with a local buyer that has pretty much gone out of business in Loxley. And so we started scrambling before my arrival here about options. The good news is the Emerald Coast Utility Authority, which is a regional utility in the panhandle of Florida, is involved not only in your typical utilities but also in sanitation solid waste. They made a big investment into a MRF, which is an operation that sorts and handles recyclables and sells them on the open market. We have been very successful in delivering those products that we cannot find buyers for locally, especially the mixed stream of mixed paper, plastics, things of that nature. We're still doing relatively well on cardboard, scrap metal, and aluminum when we have it. The only challenge that we have is ECUA and their vendor that's operating that facility has enjoyed our relationship, but they want to formalize it in the form of an agreement. And I've just gotten the example of what they would like to do. It's based on what they did with Mobile County, and they've done with a few other entities. The biggest challenge is they're trying to protect their viability in the long run, and that is that what they're willing to pay us per ton is based upon the commodity market. If it's between this and this, they pay this. But on the inverse of that, if the commodities continue to fall, we go from being paid to paying for them to take the recycle. Now here is the sticker. If we end up in a situation where we have no place to get the recyclables in the hands of somebody who's going to recycle them, then you're looking at landfill deposition, okay? Well, we know that landfill deposition costs $30 a ton. So at this point in time, as long as in the short term, the cost per ton is less than what it would cost to take it to and put it in the landfill, it should be considered. Considering right now, we don't have a lot of options. So one of the things that I'm working on is kind of putting together a policy memo and kind of try to explain where we are, what we think the foreseeable future looks like, and get it before the council for consideration. I think the one thing that would be in my recommendation is that if they authorized you to execute an agreement with this entity, that one, we are allowed to participate, and we can stop participating anytime, meaning that if there's another buyer shows up, we're not obligated to sell our recyclables to them, but if we do, we'll agree to the terms for either them paying us or us paying them. And then the other thing that would have to be defined in there is that, you know, we could end that relationship at any time. I mean, you know,
that sounds good.
And I think that's reasonable. So I'm gonna be laying that out, and my goal is to make a request through you to work session this on the this first meeting in May. And I don't. The nice thing is this entity says, hey, we'll keep working with you until we get an agreement, you know, and basically the handshake that we're operating on, they're just not paying us anything. They're taking it, but they're not paying us anything.
Right.
And reality, if we would have gone into a formal agreement 10 months ago, at that time they were paying $15 a ton. Now, right now, based upon commodities, it's a zero proposition, meaning they don't pay you and we don't pay them, but it doesn't have to drop much further until we're at $2 a ton, and then it's $7 a ton and on down.
But as long as they're picking it up, it's not costing us anything. I think we recycle not to make money, but it's the right thing to do.
A service, yeah. And I think the one thing I would reassure the council and you is that we would put a trigger in this agreement that if the commodities market fell to such a point that their price exceeded the landfill price, that we would come back to you and council to discuss it, because now we're in an economic discussion and a responsibility, an environmental responsibility discussion, and what value is that to us. So that's kind of one of those big issues that we want to put to bed. And as part of the budgetary process that Ms. Cabanas is going to kind of go through, and part of what you've asked us to do in looking at our org chart, I'm at least going to, in this, when I get it fleshed out, go through it with you, but talking about how we staff that operation in the future and look at, is the inmate program a viable program? Is what we're spending on it, are we getting equal return? And I will tell you, what we're spending on the inmates, we probably could hire around 3 full-time hoppers and have reliability that we do not have with the inmate program, and possibly reduce the limitations. And I think that there is some inherent liability there. And the thing that really showed me the biggest flaw in the system is this winter we really had a winter.
Consistency.
And they would not release those inmates if the temperature was below
a certain amount,
like 37 degrees or something like that. And we had probably 50% of the days in January and February where we started out below that number, and we had no workers.
Totally understand.
Landscaping was getting plucked to pull over to go to do that. So that's going to kind of be a big. I think with that part of it, I'm not going to be asking for any action from you or council, but I wanted to kind of let them know that's going to be a budgetary consideration. And I think we can revenue neutral it, meaning that what we're spending on this program, we can have hoppers that are full-time employees that will replace that, and hopefully the dollars balance pretty doggone close.
Great goal.
The other thing is that I'm going to request that if the council wants to have it at a work session item, but my goal is by that first meeting in May to have the copy of the application for the highway safety improvement money for the roundabout at North Section Street, City 104, Veterans and Scenic 98. And if they would like to workshop it, I'll be glad. It's the the calculus in the application is pretty interesting because you take all the crash data and you monetize it, and that's a big part of it. But we've gotten, I think, everything done and ready to put that together. And again, we're going to be asking for the council resolution support on that.
I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from citizens that they definitely want this.
Absolutely.
So, great.
And just real quick note, and I don't want to step anybody's toes, but Earth Day, everything I'm hearing was a great success. Weather was good, crowds were good, and I've just gotten some real nice feedback from the Public Works folks that supported it, and thank you, everybody that contributed. So
I totally agree. It was a great day.
that is all. Thank you.
Chief?
Yes, on May the 1st, we'll be attending a shooting debriefing of the Las Vegas shooting in Gulf Shores. They're going to have 2 officers come in, and so some of the police department will be going down to that debriefing. On the 2nd, we will have this documentary that we're taking part in, help sponsoring over at the community college, Coastal, Chasing the Dragon. And basically what it is it's about the opiate addiction, and they're going to have someone, they done did documentary on this. FBI is kind of spearheading this. I've been working with them, and so they are spearheading this, and they asked us to join in and help them with this. And so this is going to be a very important documentary to let people see that not just around the world, but in Alabama, how bad things have got with the opiate epidemic. On May the 12th, we're going to have a First Responders Appreciation Parade, and it's going to be in Robertsdale, leaving the Robertsdale High School, going to the Honeybee Park. They asked that if every department would have, first responders would have someone in that parade, vehicles, lights, sirens and stuff. And so we're going to take part in that. Also on May the 11th, the state cook-off will be here in Fairhope, and on May the 10th, the state hurricane exercise will be at the EMA. I know some of y'all should have gotten information on that. And the last thing is the Fairhope Police Department is looking into the Carfax. This is a thing that's set up to where the citizens can, instead of have to come to the police department or call and then come in and get an accident report, they will be able to go online and they can, it's a $5 fee. And we're the only department, we've been researching this, that's around, that it's not on this Carfax. Daphne, Foley, and everybody else is on it. So we're looking into getting online so that they can pick these accident reports up at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Also, you know, we pay the insurance companies, and that's really their responsibility, but they send you at the accident report, they can get them. And so the citizens won't even much, all they have to do is let them know there was an accident, what day it is, and everything. And so I've also tasked Sergeant Sawyer this morning with to go out so that we can start a program in Coastal College and into the high schools. We're going to be working with the high school students about recruiting, because we're finding that I've been talking with the chiefs, the sheriff, and different ones, and we're going to meet in the morning. But we've been talking, and to hire people is getting so hard now, to get good qualified people that can pass a lie detector tests, people that can push a car, and all of these things. And so we get people come in that can interview, but I mean, they're great at that. But once you go to the next step, they can't make it. So I had attended a class about a year ago, and I was telling Craig this morning that in Montgomery, that's what they do. They have an officer that's part of his job. He goes into the different colleges they have around, and they do just like the Army recruiters. They go in and tell them about the police department, what it takes to become a police officer. And I wanted to institute this in the high school, because before the kids get past 18 years old, where they done something after they were 18 and it's on their record, and that might stop them from becoming a police officer. And one of the things that really kind of pushed this for me was Saturday I was on my way back from Tampa, and I glanced at my phone, and I have to go Saturday also and speak on the same thing. And so I did some paperwork and notes and stuff and got together for this to go do this because one of the churches is having a little recruiting class for their young people, having people come out and talk to them to tell them about jobs, and it's a job fair. So
it's so important because not only are we at the lowest unemployment rate, but it is hard to get good people, and starting young is important. When did you start with the city?
I started back in 1981.
But you were how old?
Oh, 24.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought you started earlier. Anyway,
So
that's great, though. Thank you. And Jill, our finance director, is going to go over a schedule that we put together. This is our third budget preparation together, and we're just trying to figure out ways that we can be proactive and trying to get the budget passed in a timely manner. So.
Yes, I felt a big need to put together, in conjunction with the mayor, a calendar for this upcoming budget year. And although I'm not going to go line by line, I am going to highlight a few key dates. On the 4th, we are, for the first time, sending out citizen surveys. I think it's so important for to hear back from our citizens and incorporate those needs. And it may not be everything everybody wants, of course, but I think that's important when working on the budget. At the end of May, our department budget meetings will begin. June 1st, all outside agency appropriation requests are due. We will continue the department budget meetings in June. We will go over our draft budget document with the Finance Committee in July and have discussions with them. In August, we will start our first public council work sessions after the budget's distributed to City Council, and we are requesting that these start at 4 p.m. In September, we will continue work sessions and departmental discussions, and we hope to have this budget passed on October 1st.
Is it October 1st exactly, or, okay. I mean, a lot of time was put into this schedule, and it is an aggressive schedule. Hope we can stick to it, but I do think this is going to be the best format yet. We're going to have the budget books given to council and the finance committee. And then we're going to start during the work sessions going over, the departments will go over their budget while they already have the budget book in front of them. So that's going to be the time to go over, hopefully, any questions that they may have. So there's really a conversation back and forth on what is important in case this is being considered for omission or being cut. This is the time to have that conversation. So anyway, I'm excited about the process. I think it's going to be really good this year. So.
Me too.
And that's it. Richard Peterson.
Yeah, I apologize for being a little bit late. Things happen, and sometimes you can't get away from the office like you would like. But anyway, we're making some better progress on getting the tank painted. They've got more folks in. I don't know if, Chief, that has anything to do with y'all or not, but they do have more workers on site, and they're making pretty good progress getting the containment system up. We still don't have a hard and fast schedule about how they're going to be able to phase into us taking over certain parts of it, whether it be for water storage or for antennas being restored. But as we get closer, we'll know more about that to what they're getting accomplished and how it affects how we're able to utilize it. I want to reiterate a little bit about Earth Day that Richard mentioned. Kim Burmeister was there, and she had the medallions that were putting out, and I don't know if anybody's mentioned that yet or not, but they did a real good job. But they had some handouts, and there was a lot of interest with the public from recycling, and I think they were taking TVs and computers, and we had a little gas public awareness brochure available, and a little bit on utilities that we were trying to answer any questions anybody has. It was a lot of fun, saw a lot of people. We have a meeting Thursday with the engineer for the substation improvement project, and the first thing we're going to do, we've invited Reverend Williams to attend the meeting with us first thing Thursday so that we can make sure he's aware of what the ramifications of the project entail in terms of having the substation site relocated. It's in the best interest of the infrastructure, and we want him to feel good about that, and hopefully he'll be able to get a better understanding of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then the last thing I have is we should have plans ready to go back out for bid on the soffit work. Tom and I worked with the local architect, David Lindsay, and hopefully he'll have plans finished this week to be able to get prices on. So other than that, we've got a lot of work to do, and we're doing the best we can to get it done.
Thank you very much. And lastly, Sherry Lee is going to go show a video. I'll let you take it away.
Let me show that last, just a quick update, Laura, before we show it. Now I'm going to jump on the Earth Day bandwagon. It went very well. We gave away all of our T-shirts and our bags. We did hold aside some for State of the City that we're going to give away there, along with some other swag. So we want to encourage people to come out on Thursday. So that says Thursday, April 26th at 3 p.m. at the Nick Center. We're doing the State of the City a little bit different this year. Some of you have heard that and some of you haven't, and you'll just be surprised. But we hope that people come in person if you can, and it will be live streamed and recorded for those that can't make it, but we'd love to have as many people as possible there. I believe, Mayor, you're going to do a Q&A afterwards as well,
Yes.
and we'll all be there.
And I was going to talk about this
Okay.
during the mayor report too, but
Okay,
yes,
great.
definitely. I think this will be an easier way to get it out there in a bigger way.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
lots of things to be excited about.
completely agree with that. And then the last thing, the video you're referring to, so we're doing a couple things for First Friday Art Walk, tongue-tied, on May 4th. We're going to try closing some of the streets for the first time and see how that works. And that is based on some feedback we've been getting from merchants and citizens who are enjoying themselves during Art Walk and just don't feel that safe, especially on Church Street between Fairhope Avenue and Delamar. The other side of Delamar, as people know that have come out, is closed. So we're kind of okay in that section, but we've had bands and live music, and I think people are enjoying that, but it's difficult when it puts the police in a tough position too when people are watching music and backing up into the street and you have traffic coming. So we're going to test that out and see how it works, and we'll get feedback from merchants and citizens and see, what we think if we want to continue that. And of course, Public Works, because they have to do the lion's share of the actual, putting the barricades out. But that day, we're also going to do a parking rodeo. I did not name it that. Who came up with that originally? Who did that? I don't know, but I love that. I mean, somebody said it, and I latched onto it. I don't know why, but I think it's memorable. So we're doing a parking rodeo. Out of the PL grant study we did, reverse angled parking was a potential safety solution for pedestrians and cyclists and for our merchants. And the video that we're about to show will explain a little more. We're going to test it out on Johnson Avenue. We'll block a section of that street off as well. We're going back and forth about whether or not we're going to use a golf cart or an actual car. I think we're going to use an actual car. We're looking at liability insurance to make sure we're safe to do that. But we'll let people come test it, and we'll have some signage to show them how to do it. And if people like it, we'll test it on all of Johnson, and then who knows what will happen from there. But it's only a test if they hate it. But we'll give a little bit of time on Johnson first and get feedback on that. Trailblazers, Bike Ped Committee, City of Fairhope, and the Downtown Fairhope Business Association are all partners on this. So we're all doing it together, and we'll all be out there. And it's a community project, and it'll be fun. It's for the safety of our pedestrians and in response to the issues and concerns of traffic downtown and speeding. So this is one of our potential solutions. So Laura, would you mind? Can we play the video? Just give people a good idea. This is in Austin, Texas. It's a 2-minute video.
Does this look familiar? Backing into traffic on a busy road is something drivers face into traffic every day. Well, Austin is working to make parking safer. Here's how it works. Back and angle parking is one step easier than parallel parking. Simply signal the traffic behind, pull past the spaces as you would with parallel parking. And back in. And back in. Loading packages is safer here on the sidewalk. And open doors block you from busy streets. And the best part, when you're ready to leave, it's easy to see oncoming traffic, including bicyclists. In Austin, bicycles are a popular way to get around. Bicyclists. In Austin, bicycles are a popular way to get around. Bicycle lanes around town help protect cyclists from the flow of traffic. But drivers backing out of spaces blindly creates potential for a collision. Back and angle parking helps remove this danger and has proven effective not only in the cities across the U.S., but right here in Austin. For over a year, drivers and cyclists on Dean Keaton Street have safely shared the road. And new to 6th Street business, owners Jim of Swedish Hill and Brad Fortney of Fortney's Antique say they have seen the benefits too.
I love the fact that I can now load people's car from the safety of the sidewalk. We don't have to worry about major amount of traffic. I like that when they're finished and ready to leave, that they can comfortably depart whenever the traffic is clear. They have a full view of the road and so much safer.
I've been here back in Austin 17 years. I never parked on 6th Street when it was head-in parking. I park out there all the time now. It's changed, it's different. It was a little hard at first, and now I'm used to it, and most of our customers have gotten used to it and really like it.
So Austin, as you encounter back-in angle parking around town, remember, it's easier than parallel parking, and more importantly, safer for everyone who shares our roads.
I think that's great. I think the biggest thing is keep an open mind and try it out. We're just trying to make downtown safer for pedestrians, and I think it's good to try it out. So thank you.
And one of our council people have really been advocating for it after his truck got totaled backing out of a space on Fairhope Avenue. So,
yeah. Councilman Brown.
And just so you know, the plans for the first large-scale test is Johnson between Section and Bancroft, and if you're familiar with it, is all along the south side is angled parking, and then on the east half of the north side is angled. So all those will be reversed. There'll be same number of parking places, they'll just be reoriented. And you know, this is a pretty inexpensive test bed because basically it is involving striping paint and labor, and we spend a lot of time striping places downtown, so it's not something we're uncomfortable with. Our goal is as soon as the rodeo is complete and all the drivers are rounded up successfully, we will be planning that work. The biggest challenge is we want to make the inconvenience of taking the old stripes up and putting the new one down as minimal as possible. So we're discussing, can we get there's basically 4 quadrants and 3 of them have to be reversed. Can we do, can we get all of 1 quadrant done between, 4 in the morning and 10 or something like that before the business generally open? That's kind of the logistics we're working out. The signs are in hand. There'll be signs posted at both the entrances of Johnson from Bancroft and from Section. And the good news is it's not a through street, meaning that there's not traffic coming across Section onto Johnson and there's not traffic coming across Bancroft. It is just runs between those two. So it's probably a good test bed. It's the volume is not that high, but the demand for parking is equally as high as any other part of the central business district. So, again, I think we want to give it a good try. And at the end of the day, if everybody loves it, we may look at other opportunities, or if we decided it was a great try to improve safety, but it wasn't, then we can always take it back to just like it was.
Right.
And Mayor, I forgot to remind everyone that we can take some questions on Facebook too.
Oh, okay.
So, and someone just commented about they love the idea, and they said it'll probably take people a while to get used to it, like the roundabouts, but they were excited about it.
I'll remember to
so.
do that at the beginning.
Right.
But our next, we're going to be here hopefully for every, the hour before every work session is what our goal is. And as we do these meetings, they probably will last about 30 minutes unless we have something big to talk about. So thank everybody for tuning in, and we will see you for the next meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you.